Mirabai Chanu is one of the best weightlifters in the entire world, the 2017 World Champion and Tokyo Olympics silver medalist. And in this video, I traveled to France to assist her in her final preparations for the Paris Olympic Games. Today, I'm going to reveal to you for the first time ever her complete lifting warm-up and mobility routine I helped her develop. I'll then share a detailed breakdown of her intensive training throughout the week and a look into her essential recovery and rehab techniques that she relies on to stay on the top of her game. Not only has Mirabai faced devastating injuries and frustrating setbacks within the past year, but she stands to face off against an extremely strong and talented lineup this year in Paris. Will her hard work be enough to once again find a spot atop the podium? Stay tuned to find out. Mirabai's warm-up routine can be divided into three different parts: a generalized warm-up, individualized rehab and prehab work, and a barbell-specific warm-up. The overall goal of a generalized warm-up is to raise muscle temperature and improve mobility for greater ease of movement. For Mirabai, this begins with a short jog, followed by roughly 2 minutes of low-intensity skipping variations. The quick muscular contractions of the skips and hops at this time also help prime the nervous system so her body can then more effectively recruit the muscles for explosive activity and greater strength output during the ensuing workout. She then begins a routine of moving multiple body segments from head to toe through a full range of motion, starting with the neck, then moving to the wrists, followed by the shoulders with arm swings in a few different ways. Next, she moves to the hips with side bends, hip circles, and then twisting within a hinge to address the thoracic spine. Then she performs a few Cossack squats back and forth and an arms overhead lunge. Next is a few bodyweight air squats, before then moving to the ankles where she performs circles and side-to-side inversion and eversion motions. You'll notice she did not perform any long-duration static stretching during any part of this general warm-up. This is because scientific studies dating back many decades, like this article from 1998, have suggested long-duration stretching routines can often lead to significant decreases in maximal strength production directly after. On the other hand, a routine consisting of dynamic movements and very short duration stretches like the ones performed here can enhance mobility without any strength detriment whatsoever. This entire routine took about 7 minutes to perform. She then moves on to rehab and prehab work, which included exercises I've specifically chosen for her based on her injury history, current areas of concern, and drills that I have found helpful to enhance her movement quality over our last 4 years working together. In the past, she's dealt with shoulder issues like most weightlifters. So currently, I have her begin part of her warm-up with a seated external rotation drill with the elbow propped up on the knee. She performs just one set of 10 reps on each arm. This specific exercise addresses the infraspinatus muscle of the rotator cuff, a common weak link for many people that, if under-facilitated, can lead to over-dominance on the anterior muscles and therefore insufficient shoulder stability. Next is banded external rotation with a press overhead. I have her hold the external rotation for 3 seconds, before then pressing overhead for another 3-second hold. Just one set on each side for 5 repetitions. This drill primes the exact muscle coordination and muscle sequencing used for the turnover of the snatch lift. She then moves to the McGill Big 3 core stability routine. Just 3 reps of 10-second holds in each of these 3 parts. A stable core is a non-negotiable essential aspect of efficient lifting technique, as it allows for optimal force transfer between the legs into the arms to propel the barbell vertically. A momentary loss of sufficient core stability can allow a leakage of energy during a lift, instantly diminishing the line of drive and leading to a missed lift. Including a few core drills during one's warm-up reinforces the core's ability to stabilize the spine so it can be maintained more effectively during the following workout. And I've broken down this entire routine into this video that I'll link below. Next, Mirabai performs a single leg bridge while squeezing a foam roller between the knees. This drill works the glutes and adductors for improved hip stabilization to limit side bending of the pelvis, a prior deficit in her training this past year. She will perform just 5 reps on each leg for a 3-second hold up top before moving on. She then performs one set of 3 to 4 repetitions of a side plank clamshell, only on her left side. The past few weeks, her left lateral hip structures near the IT band had become irritated, so the side plank clamshell held for 10 seconds specifically primes the under-facilitated glute medius that was likely the root cause. After only a day of adding this into our warm-up routine, I noticed improved hip opening and less hip irritation to the IT band. Now, I want to emphasize that these rehab exercises are specific for Mirabai's past and current injuries. If you want to find out what exact exercises may be best for your body, check out my book, Rebuilding Milo. It contains easy to understand tests and screens to help you uncover the root cause of your problems, as well as a variety of exercises to help you get back on the right track. So after this video is done, head on over to Amazon.com or your local bookstore and pick up a copy of Rebuilding Milo. But for now, let's continue. The very last warm-up is an overhead squat routine. It begins with 3 squats with the bar overhead, each performed with a 10-second descent. Even though the competition lifts of the snatch and clean and jerk in weightlifting are extremely powerful and fast, honing in on your technique within these extreme positions with very slow tempo movements during warm-ups can enhance your control during your ensuing workout when you eventually need to move faster. She then performs 3 quick overhead squats before 4 more tempo overhead squats, but this time with pauses at 3 separate depths. During each pause, she performs a small hip opening with a pause. She'll then repeat this same procedure on the left hip. This part of the routine primes both mobility and glute activation specific to the needs of the snatch reception that had been a source of hip pain and irritation for the past few months. This specific overhead squat routine only takes 1.5 minutes. In total, this section of her warm-up lasted only 12 minutes because she went from exercise to exercise with no rest in between. The last part of her warm-up routine is called the specific warm-up. In simple terms, this is when we strap on our weightlifting shoes and start lifting, but with a very precise strategy. For example, on this particular day, Mirabai's top lift was an 85 kilo snatch, but she didn't start at that weight or even a weight close to it. She began with just an open barbell and performed a few reps, first power snatches and then the full snatch. She then progressively took small jumps in load en route to her heaviest sets of the day called the working sets. Performing these lifts with progressively more and more load allows the lifter to hone in on their technique and prepare their neuromuscular system to move as efficiently as possible with the best possible timing, coordination, and balance. All key factors in the sport of weightlifting, as lifts are made or missed with the smallest margin of error. In total, Mirabai's entire routine of a general warm-up, rehab and prehab work, and specific warm-up took about 40 minutes. Now, for some of you, you may be thinking that's a long time. And if you're an average gym enthusiast with only an hour or less for your entire workout, I would agree. But for a serious lifter with serious goals, this should be closer to the norm. In fact, scientific evidence such as this research study from 2011 suggests that when an athlete combines a 20-minute general warm-up with a specific warm-up, they're able to elicit significant improvements in strength output compared to those who only perform a specific warm-up. So just grabbing the barbell and performing a few warm-up sets with lightweight is not optimal if your goal is to elicit max strength output. And this brings us to our next section, her competition lifting. Now in the sport of weightlifting, also called Olympic weightlifting by many, there are 2 lifts, the snatch and the clean and jerk. The snatch is the first of the 2 lifts. It begins with a wide grip and ends up with the athlete lifting the barbell from the floor to overhead in one single action. In the starting position, the feet are set approximately hip width. Arms are straight with knees pushed out to the inside of the elbows. The posterior shoulder is positioned directly over the bar and the head and eyes are looking forward. The athlete begins the lift by pushing with their legs against the floor through the whole foot, similar to a squat, maintaining approximately the same back angle until the bar reaches the top of the knee joint. The lifter then extends the hips violently, keeping the bar as close to the body as possible. The bar eventually makes contact with the hips as the body extends in an effort to accelerate the barbell vertically. The elbows then simultaneously move up and out as the body moves under the barbell into a receiving stance to secure the lift overhead. Throughout my week in France, Mirabai worked up to an 85 kilo or 187 pound snatch on Monday, and on Wednesday, she performed a variation of the snatch lift from the blocks. This gave her an opportunity to really focus on the second part of her pull and really gain confidence with heavier loads overhead. On this day, she was able to complete a 91 kilo snatch, a new personal best, the first time she had ever lifted this amount over her head in her career. The clean and jerk is the second of the two lifts. The athlete uses a grip just outside the shoulders and lifts the barbell first from the floor to the shoulders and then from the shoulders to overhead. The clean also begins very similar with a strong push with the legs against the floor, maintaining approximately the same back angle until the bar is above the knee. The bar then makes contact with the upper thigh as the lifter violently extends the body to propel the bar upwards before transitioning under into a squat position to receive the barbell on the shoulders. Once standing, the lifter then takes a few new breaths, then pressurizes and braces their trunk for the jerk. This portion of the lift begins with a small dip, characterized by a bending of the knees while the trunk remains vertical. The lifter then aggressively drives upwards with the legs to accelerate the barbell overhead. Once fully extended, the lifter continues to push up on the bar while quickly moving their feet into a split position before securing the barbell overhead and standing up. This week, she performed a 116 kilo clean and jerk, only 3 kilos less than her past world record lift of 119 from 2021. Olympic weightlifters also use a variety of other resistance exercises like back squats, front squats, and deadlift or pull variations from the ground to build strength and reinforce proper lifting technique. And when you lift heavy, you need to recover just as hard. So this brings us to our last section of the video. Mirabai's physical recovery this week can be broken down into 3 main sections: immediate post-workout cooldown, cryotherapy later in the day, and lots of sleep. Let's start with our cooldown. Directly after training, Mirabai will go through a stretching routine that lasts roughly 7 minutes. I'll divide the screen into a few parts so you can see the entirety of her program. During this time, she will again move through a number of different stretches, mostly dynamic yoga-based type movements, addressing the hips, back, and shoulders, similar to the dynamic warm-up before her workout. Again, none of these stretches are held for more than 5 to 10 seconds at a time. Prior to going to bed each night, Mirabai also uses the Game Ready system, which circulates freezing cold water through a sleeve system that is inflated, offering the benefits of ice, called cryotherapy, and compression to her hips that are currently recovering from an injury. This combination can help enhance recovery and decrease muscle soreness. Unfortunately, Mirabai had a tough competition, struggling with her clean and jerks. Despite the challenges, she gave it her all, showing incredible determination and effort throughout the entire event, and ended up finishing 4th in the world. I'm so proud of her and how she's fought this past year to come back from injury, and know she still has more in the future to give.